Now, of course, we're all going to get old eventually, but it's not necessary to age before our time. And of course, most people don't like their wrinkles, so they treat the wrinkle with creams, serums, and Botox, all these different things, rather than treating it from the inside out. Hello, this is Dr. Peru, a nutritionist by profession. So, what people need to realize is that the aging appearance on the outside of the body is actually happening on the inside as well. And when we're talking about wrinkles, we're talking about collagen and connective tissue, the fascia that surrounds all of our muscles and all of our body, which becomes stiffened and causes us to be in a certain posture, usually slumped over. And many times, by the age of 40, we've lost 25% of our collagen in our connective tissue. So today we're going to talk about how to prevent this problem, as well as reverse it if you have it. And of course, I'm talking about premature aging. I'm not talking about completely stopping the aging process, which is impossible. There's a certain enzyme in the body that actually breaks down collagen. So what are the things that trigger this enzyme to go higher? Certain antibiotics. You also have ultraviolet radiation. You're out in the sun excessively, burning yourself too much. Now, that can also trigger this. However, I still recommend that you get a lot of sun, okay? And I'm going to talk about that at the very end of this section. But let me just make this understandable. The more sugar that's in your body, the more it's going to lock up protein and clog everything up, okay? And if you have a lot of that going on because you eat a lot of refined sugars, then you're going to look really old, okay? Just as a side note, I want to explain something about sugar. Everyone's afraid of sugar, and they're trying to avoid sugar, and they'll start reading the labels and say, wow, this doesn't have very much sugar, but it has a lot of carbohydrates. What is that carbohydrate? It's starch. Starch is a bunch of sugar molecules connected together. So starch is sugar. And when we talk about starch, we're not even talking about like the starch in vegetables, like a salad or even a potato. We're talking about severely processed starch that is called either maltodextrin or modified food starch, which is way worse than actual sugar. Even though there might be no sugar in something, you have to understand the label. There could be other starches, which is just basically hidden sugar. Vitamin D is also important for anti-aging. Vitamin D helps protect you against the loss of collagen. This is why I recommend everyone take at least 10,000 IU of vitamin D3 for many different reasons, one being the protection against premature collagen loss and anti-aging. There are certain cells in your body that make collagen. The most potent stimulus of collagen is exercise, adding motion in your body versus being sedentary. All you have to do is start using your body, and it'll start to make more collagen. Now, as we get older, we're more susceptible to having injuries on our joints. So, there are a couple of things that I always recommend as we get older. Focus more on the plank exercise, where you're holding a push-up position. That's not easy. You're holding tension, but you're not moving your joints, and you're strengthening your collagen just from that. There's also another type of exercise called eccentric exercises, where you're lengthening the muscle. You're not contracting the muscle. So let's say you start off with a push-up position, and then you just slowly let yourself down. Okay? It creates a super amount of tension and stimulus of collagen. Also, if you're on a pull-up bar and you pull yourself up, and then you slowly let yourself down, you're lengthening the muscles. I also want to touch on something that can really make you older, ideal protein. It's very, very crappy protein. It's probably the combination of that protein and very low fat and all the other artificial stuff that just makes someone look older, and they would have problems with the gallbladder and the liver. Your quality protein is important too. Instead of doing this plant-based isolate type protein or even any other plant-based protein, I would just recommend mostly grass-fed beef. But realize that when you consume a lot of your protein just from chicken, like lean turkey meat, even pork, you're getting a lot more omega-6 fatty acids. You're not getting as much omega-3 fatty acids. But when you have grass-fed, grass finished, you're getting a much better ratio. Other anti-aging tips. Another thing that's really important is autophagy. It means self-eating, okay? And you're eating damaged proteins and then turning those into new proteins. It's kind of an anti-aging effect. And to achieve that, one thing you can do is do intermittent fasting. So you're not snacking all the time. You're doing maybe 2 meals a day, maybe 1 meal a day, and your body is healing. So that's another thing that's really important. And then there's sleep. If you yourself or you know people who haven't slept for a period of time, they age quickly because of the stress and the cortisol that occurs too. So we need a lot of sleep. And exercise can help reduce stress, but there's something else too. I want to put reverse aging with this anti-aging hack on your radar. If you've never heard about this, you should check it out. One of the most powerful anti-stress hormones is called oxytocin. And there's a way to basically make your own cultivated dairy product with a very specific microbe to grow that in a milk culture that you consume a half a cup of this every single day. And the cool effect that it has on your body is that that microbe releases something that travels up through a nerve called the vagus nerve, right up into the brain, and it goes right into the hypothalamus. And there are receptors waiting there to be triggered. So that particular microbe, in sufficient amounts, releases a lot of oxytocin, which greatly helps your sleep and greatly lowers your stress to the point where you can actually rejuvenate your skin and your muscles. So in this video, I've given you more than enough to start reversing some of the aging process and definitely to prevent premature aging or wrinkling of your skin. If you like this video, then do not forget to subscribe this channel and press the bell icon button.